This is the Sunday stream opening song because the other song is copyrighted. La 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 la. Oh look, here comes Dog Cat Fox.
Hi, Sky.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday stream. The stream I do on Sundays because Sunday is the day to stream on Sundays. Hope you're all doing well on this beautiful Sunday morning. It's actually kind of nice out. It's sunny. I know, it's cray sunny. And yeah. I got up this morning and I'm trying to do a morning constitutional now to get some exercise in my system and wake myself up before I get started with the rest of the trials and travails of the day. It's about a 2-mile hike, I guess, up and down the hill. I go all the way down the hill to the distant grocery store, pick up a snack, or maybe not, and then walk all the way back. And what am I listening to keep myself occupied today? A documentary on Jonestown, because, you know, nothing says Sunday like suicidal cult. And I probably just demonetized the stream by saying that word. Anyway, but yes, good morning, everybody. And who's all joining me on this beautiful Sunday morning? And it appears that YouTube is having the problem again of putting everybody's raw handle ID up and not their actual name. So I'm going to be challenged to remember everybody's name simply on the basis of either your handle or your avatar. Here we go. The Alexander, good morning. JB, hello. Juliet, good morning. Unfair Ophelia, good morning. Random American, good morning to you. Jill Powers, the River Daughter, good morning. Who else is here? Anybody else? Resolute Germ, hello. Mike R, hello. Ebony Williams is here. Hi, Ebony. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. John Trioxin, good morning. JPS, hello. Kirsten Scholl over on the X machine. Yes, guys, I am simulcasting over on X. If you happen to have an X account and you see the stream over there, please do retweet. I'd appreciate that. And Shadow Claws here. Oh, Morgan King, good morning. Who else is here? Mike Savage, good morning. Blue-Eyed Scream, hello. Keldrig, hello. And I think that's everybody. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, good morning. Uh-oh. Other than pain in my lower back, I'm okay. Who is the pain in your back? You're a pain in my back. Well, take it easy, relax. Have some helpful person give you a massage. That always helps. Well, always. Almost always. I got a massage one time. The guy, I swear to God, he must have been some kind of like reserve linebacker for a football team or something. And he did a number on my arm such to the point where I got nerve damage for like 4 or 5 months or something. I got this twinge and this hitch in my arm for a long time. Like, eek. So if I ever do get a massage, which is like once every 15 years or something, only women now. The gentle, gentle touch of a woman. And on that note, let's talk about the terribleness of men through the eyes of Michael Douglas. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Somebody, this is the theory. What's wrong with men? A writer looks at Michael Douglas characters for clues. So everyone, we're going to find out what's wrong with men via the fictional portrayals of people by a single actor. Okay. In What's Wrong with Men, critic Jessa Crispin explores the rise of misogyny in today's culture through an unusual lens. In the late 1980s and early 90s, Michael Douglas starred in several Hollywood blockbusters that gave a sensationalist twist to the era's culture wars over women's status and control of their bodies. In Fatal Attraction, he played a family man who betrayed his lovely homemaker wife for a brief affair with a sexually liberated, irresistibly seductive, and ultimately deranged career woman. In Basic Instinct, he portrayed a down-on-the-heels detective whose fragile recovery from addiction and personal tragedy was cruelly derailed by a sexually voracious, demonically smart, wealthy, and beautiful woman writer who was also, maybe, an ice pick wielding man murderer. And in disclosure, he was a hard-working husband and a father who lost an important promotion to a sexually predatory, professionally undeserving, vindictively scheming ex-girlfriend who falsely accused him of sexual harassment. So what you're telling me here is, in each instance, he's a guy who either made a mistake or stumbled his way into a relationship with a woman who tried to destroy him. Okay. Meanwhile, in Kansas, Jessa Crispin was growing up in a small conservative town where HBO, decadent for that place in that time, was bringing her movies that taught her all about money and success, ambition, and the killer instinct she'd need to thrive in a life far away from home. She writes in What is Wrong with Men? Period. It's not a question. It just, she knows. It's a statement of knowledge. She saw Michael Douglas as a real man. 3 decades and several books later, most recently, My Three Dads, Patriarchy on the Great Plains, Crispin decided it was time to look at him and at real men through a new lens. She couldn't have chosen a better moment. Actually, she could have chosen a better moment. The better moment would have been about 2017, 2018, with the rise of Me Too and Time's Up and Harvey Weinstein in Hollywood. Yeah, she's a few years too late for the best moment because, shouting from the rooftops about misogyny and that kind of thing. It's kind of... people have built up a tolerance. But anyway, the worst elements of the very trashiest Michael Douglas movies. The very trashiest Michael Douglas movies? I think you're missing a few. The blatant misogyny, the normalization of sexual assault. The normalization of sexual assault. Yeah, because as we know, guys, in every movie where there is a sexual assault, it's a good thing. It is hailed as a good thing. It is never a villainous act, as we know. The blatant misogyny, the normalization of sexual assault, the general sense that good men can't say or do what they want or tell the honest truth while women get away with murder are back in full force. Yes, because the novelty of movies like Fatal Attraction or Basic Instinct or Disclosure, which I never saw because it looked stupid. The novelty wasn't that the villain was a woman and the victim was a man. Because prior to that, guys, all movies were about evil women and completely vulnerable men. As we know, most movies dealing with violence and murder and assault, it's all about women versus men. It was never men being villains against innocent women running through the woods or through a parking garage, or no. Anyway, moving on. Those sentiments help win elections. What? Did I miss a sentence? No, I didn't. Let me back up slightly. The worst elements of the very trashiest Michael Douglas movies, the blatant misogyny, the normalization of sexual assault, the general sense that good men can't say or do what they want or tell the honest truth while women get away with murder, are back in full force. I guess she means today. Those sentiments help win elections, animate internet comedy, and fill a very noisy manosphere. And they have given cover to sweeping rollbacks of federal rules aimed at fighting sexual harassment and rape, lack of access to birth control, and wage inequality, all in the name of combating gender ideology extremism. What in the world are you talking about? Gender ideology extremism is the fuzzing of the lines between male and female and pushing children and vulnerable teens to start having medical procedures or chemical procedures to switch their genders, quote unquote. But you're aligning all of that with lack. So the downfall of Roe v. Wade was a result of gender ideology extremism or the combating thereof. Wage inequality. Not wage disparity, mind you. is a result of combating gender ideology extremism. Rollbacks on rules aimed at fighting harassment and rape. What? Okay. Moving on. Just last month, Amazon MGM Studios United Artists announced the news of an anti-woke reboot of Basic Instinct with an enthusiastic sign-on by the film's original screenwriter Joe Eszterhas, who has been a Donald Trump supporter. That's your active example. So, Joe Eszterhas, and by the way, guys, Joe Eszterhas. Now, what else did Joe Eszterhas do prior to all this? Let's see. Joe Eszterhas. I have a feeling. I know. What else has he written? Or directed, as the case may be. Yeah, Basic Instinct, Showgirls, Jade. You guys ever see Jade? It's one of the lesser-known 90s sort of, Basic Instinct-esque type things. I saw Jade. Oh, man. Wasn't that Gina Gershon? Am I completely off base there? No, Linda Fiorentino, pardon me. Linda Fiorentino, that's who it was. Yeah, David Caruso, Linda Fiorentino, Chaz Palminteri, Michael Biehn, and Richard Crenna. Oh, man. An erotic thriller. Yeah, so they hired Joe Eszterhas, who wrote Basic Instinct, to write a reboot. What were you expecting? But this is the evidence, guys. They're doing a reboot to a film franchise that has been dead for at least 15 years. I know they did a sequel several years ago that bombed. And that's the evidence, guys, that misogyny and gender ideology extremism combating has won. It's not hard to trace the style of today's particularly rageful male dysphoria to the cultural moment, captured so encyclopedically in Susan Faludi's 1991 bestseller, Backlash, The Undeclared War Against American Women, and the 1999 follow-up, Stiffed, The Betrayal of the American Man, that made Michael Douglas a box office superstar. What? Crispin has done it through a close reading, a very, very close reading. Well, if you decide to read between the lines of a cookbook, you can find anything you want. Of 9 Michael Douglas films, arguing that through him, or more precisely through, quote, the character he embodied in film during the era of the patriarchy's most dramatic changes, and from his movements and his injuries, we can theorize what is wrong with men, unquote. I need to write a book about the Hunt for Red October. Not like write the Hunt for Red October. Write a book about the Hunt for Red October and all of the various elements of that film that speak to the cultural moment, in this moment, and how that has informed submarine culture over the last 40 years. Man, I'd make a whole lot of money off of that one. She hops through the familiar touch points in our recent economic history. Deindustrialization, banking deregulation, financialization, privatization, and vastly increased inequality, weaving them into a sweeping story of declining male fortunes. Is this a sympathetic book? She views all of that, fiction and history, through a lens of Marxist feminist critical theory. To which she adds some recent ideas and language from social justice movements, you don't say. And then she comes to some striking conclusions. Patriarchy is over, quote unquote. Post-patriarchy, in which we now live, is worse. That's because patriarchy, in which the top positions were, quote, reserved exclusively for white men, unquote, at least carried with it, quote, values like stewardship, sacrifice, and charity, she writes. Post-patriarchy cares only about money, and its smokescreen, meritocracy, is a system that gives advantage to the already wealthy and has allowed the middle class to erode and protections for the lower classes to disappear, unquote. Which obviously would never take place under a Marxist feminist understanding of economy or government. In such a stark world of winners and losers, most men are, understandably, very angry. But Crispin writes, there is hope. If they could just give up their old, quote, internalized ideas about male privilege and patriarchal power, unquote, if they would, quote, learn to become creators, artists, innovators, collaborators, and diplomats, unquote, men could, at long last, find, quote, true liberation, unquote. Yes, everyone, if only men could learn to become creators. If only men could learn to become artists and innovators. If only men knew how to collaborate and had any skill at diplomacy, finally, all men could reach true liberation. Boy, you may have questions. Boy, you know what? You know what? Article writer, author lady, this one's for you. In fact, you might take issue with quite a few of Crispin's assertions. What's going on here? Am I reading a fortune? Was the period before, during, and after World War II really American patriarchy's golden age? Given male job losses and the Great Depression, the violence men encountered in Europe and Japan, and the return to a home front that had, in many ways, moved on without them? Parenthetical, and for that matter, is it really truthful to say that the fantasy of the brave, heroic young men who liberated Europe and the Pacific was mostly manufactured by Hollywood? Unquote. That wasn't a fantasy. No, it is not truthful to say that it was a fantasy. That if you want to count up all the names of the men and women that died fighting to free Europe and the Pacific, I'll wait. Is it accurate to assert that angry men flock to overtly misogynistic masculinity influencers such as Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson because they are, quote, picking up on nostalgic versions of masculinity in order to fight against the hedonism and meaninglessness of contemporary consumer life, unquote? No. I'll tell you why. I'll give you a really simple explanation. I'll tell you why people are flocking to the likes on different extremes of Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson. Okay. And this is not to equate Andrew Tate with Jordan Peterson or vice versa. But I'll tell you why they're flocking to people that either are ridiculously extreme on the intellectual sense or ridiculously extreme on the hedonistic sense. Here's what both of them are doing. Here is the common through line through both Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate. Both of them are telling an entire generation of boys and men, not boys to men, but that's also true, of boys and men who have been told for the last 10 or 15 years that they are inherently toxic. They are telling an entire generation of boys and men who have been told for the last 15 years that they are just 2 steps away from being monstrous predators against women because of what they are. They are telling boys and men of the last generation that they don't have anything to apologize for simply for being what they are. Now, how they leverage that message to their own ends or the benefit of others is completely different, Andrew Tate to Jordan Peterson. But there's some of the few relatively well-known individuals who are telling boys and men, you have nothing to apologize for simply being what you are. Whereas nothing they've heard elsewise for the last 15 years has said anything other than, you are terrible. You are broken girls, you are defective women. You are 2 steps away from hurting somebody, and simply by existing, you are poisonous. Okay, so you're driving these guys with that messaging towards outlets where they don't have to feel like they are inherently villains and that they have some power and agency of their own. If only we had some positive male role models who exuded masculinity and were also good people at the same time. But you know what? You guys have snuffed that idea out. It is not allowed. You are not allowed and have not been allowed to have positive male role models because masculinity itself is toxic. assertiveness, physical strength, being attracted to women, pursuing women. All of this are signs of the Antichrist. And so when you have an intellectual who's saying men and boys aren't inherently bad, and you have an absolute grifter jerkwad who's saying men and boys aren't inherently bad, that message is going to resonate with people who feel like they have nowhere to go. But I digress. And is it right to describe one of the, quote, broadest bases of new support for Trump as, quote, the disappointed, the middling, the people for whom things worked out okay but not to their full expectations, the third best salesperson this quarter, the students who didn't quite get into the university that was their first choice? Do exit polls now ask about job performance and college placement, or is this just gratuitous? What the heck are you talking about? What? But you can't get too caught up in all of that. Well, thank goodness, because I was about to just go off on... What? I don't even know what that was supposed to be saying. In What is Wrong with Men, Crispin is employing the tools of critical theory. I am shocked. And by doing theory, she can cover a lot of bases just by writing knowingly about patriarchy and capitalism and patriarchal capitalism. The author previously of Why I Am Not a Feminist, I don't believe you. She is also a professional contrarian, I'll give you that, which pretty much means she can bounce off others to naysay whenever so moved, which basically means she can talk out of both sides of her mouth and call it all intellectual exploration. I'm never wrong because I'm always just an inherent contrarian. That dual orientation, playing both sides of the fence, allows her to construct bizarrely telescoped timelines without too much worry about anachronism. What the hell does that mean? Parenthetical or sourcing. In her extremely short bibliography, I can imagine that too, Crispin mentions backlash, but oddly skips stiffed. She also avoids any real detail on current politics or policy or political figures. Trump gets his most sustained attention as an example of a late 1980s man successfully, quote, controlling the narrative, unquote, during his divorce from his first wife, Ivana. But then, that's Crispin's theory in action. Anything that, quote, keeps the focus on the individual rather than on the system that created them, unquote, is a no-no. Okay. With its elevation of rhetoric over well-informed argument, What is Wrong with Men is truly a book for our times. Okay, I'm beginning to suspect that maybe the author of this article is lampooning this lady. Because if that is an unironic statement, I don't know what to say. With its elevation of rhetoric over well-informed argument, What is Wrong with Men is truly a book for our times. It will no doubt appeal to the kinds of young readers who talk fluently about late capitalism and who see traditional politics as pointless. It may also provide new fuel for those who view intellectuals as out-of-touch super-ideologues, ignorant and disdainful of regular people. That's not terribly helpful, and it's undoubtedly not the outcome that Crispin desired. I am flabbergasted. Not Shakira flabbergasted, that's a whole other situation, but there you go, guys. Thought I'd start out with some Michael Douglas is the root of all evil, or something. So there you go. Let me scroll up here a little bit. Keldrig, these people need to stop lumping JBP and Andrew Tate together. They're radically different from each other. Also, why does it always go back to Trump? These people are more obsessed than his fans. Well, they lump them together because, again, like I said, they have a common through line. They are allowing men to proceed unapologetically. They're promoting an unapologetic viewpoint for men to glom onto. But again, towards completely different ends and through completely different means. But that's the only thing that connects Peterson and Tate. And that doesn't make them equals in any particular way. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, and where's there he is, Moist Tree Rat. Nice to see you, Moist Tree Rat. If you say that really fast, it sounds like a very strange foreign word. Or TC, as the case may be. Hello. And Zalbla. Hey, Zalbla. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Anybody else I missed? Carphalos. Okay, now I'm going to be challenged here. Do I know who this is in the absence of their regular handle and just on the basis of the avatar? Would you be offended if I said Cephtus Wolf? If you are, I apologize. I'm guessing here. Because it's usually the combination of the avatar and obviously the name that clues me in. You're Ridiculous Lunatic. Hello. Dances with Aardvarks. Good morning. Anybody else I missed in the meantime? Probably did. Tyrannus. Lich Pope of the thing. I don't know what your current title is. You change it so much. So I am a liberated man because I'm laying on my bed editing the 3rd chapter of my novel. Yes. That's right. You're creating something. You are an artist. You are already liberated. As opposed to any other man out there, because none of them do that either. So you're one of the rare ones. Killer Turnus. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. You're right. I'm going on too long. That's me. Okay, I got it right. Good. Okay. I mean, a lot of people use wolves as avatars. So. And JMK. Good morning. But let's move on to our top story, sort of. And this will probably come up on Midnight's Edge in the morning tomorrow, too. So think of this as a sneak preview. Oh, but before I get there, hold on. Keeverdam, good morning. And thank you so much, Keeverdam, for the Hiya Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowie, wow, wow.
Oh, and coincidentally enough, there's a Keeverdam Dogcat Fox. Thank you, Keeverdam. Appreciate it. Also, guys, by the way, I forgot to mention, as I often do, at the top of the chat box, there's a link to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society donation page. If you could please take a look at that. If you are able to donate, please do so. But even if you can't, if you can share that out on social media, that would be appreciated. So thank you ahead of time for that. Read by Nature. Good morning. The left has no wish to understand or engage with anyone. Everything is just right-wing, regardless of point of view or argument. Yes, compromise, at least listening to someone else's diverging opinion. These things cannot be done. As we see exemplified in the form of John Leguizamo. You remember John Leguizamo, star of House of Buggin'? You don't remember House of Buggin'? Okay, well, that's it. John Leguizamo slams Dean Cain. Ooh, sounds steamy. Slams Dean Cain as a loser for joining ICE. Quote, what a moron. The former Superman actor recently criticized James Gunn's adaptation after he said, quote, Superman is the story of America, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country, unquote. The former, okay, so he criticized James Gunn's adaptation and said, Superman is the story of an American. An immigrant, yeah, okay. John Leguizamo is slamming Dean Cain after the actor said he's going to become an immigration and customs enforcement agent. Quote, what kind of loser volunteers to be an ICE officer? The Moulin Rouge star. The Moulin Rouge star. You, of all the things, Moulin Rouge... I mean, you'd be better off saying the Super Mario Brothers star. Or heck, even more relatively recent, the John Wick star. Something like that. But the Moulin Rouge star. Okay, what kind of loser volunteers to be an ICE officer? Yeah, guys, what kind of loser volunteers to help defend his country? Boy, oh boy, I tell you, all those people out there that give up their regular lives in order to serve their country in some way, shape, or form. What a bunch of losers. Jesus. Anyway, quote, what a moron. Dean Cain, your pronouns are has been, unquote. Pot Meat Kettle. Kane previously starred as Clark Kent Superman in the 1990s TV show Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman. The actor revealed he also starred as Scott Peterson in that TV movie where he played the killer, the wife killer. But we don't talk about that. No, the actor revealed on Wednesday that he was planning to be, quote, sworn in as an ICE agent ASAP on Fox News' Jesse Watters prime time. Quote, I put out a recruitment video yesterday. I'm actually a sworn deputy sheriff and a reserve police officer. I wasn't part of ICE, but once I put that out there and you put a little blurb on your show, it went crazy, he said on the show. Quote, so now I've spoken with some officials over at ICE and I will be sworn in as an ICE agent ASAP, unquote. Golly gee whiz. A celebrity ambassador to a governmental law enforcement agency? I've never heard of such a thing. Kane continued, quote, we have a broken immigration system. Congress needs to fix it, but in the interim, President Trump ran on this. He is delivering on this. This is what people voted for. It's what I voted for, and he's going to see it through, and I'll do my part and help make sure it happens, unquote. The former Superman lead recently criticized James Gunn's adaptation of the iconic superhero, pointing to the director's comments, noting that, quote, Superman is the story of America, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country, unquote. Quote, how woke is Hollywood going to make this character? Kane asked in an interview with TMZ. How much is Disney going to change their Snow White? Why are they going to change these characters to exist for the times? Unquote. Well, I guess it depends on when he said that, because if he said it before the movie came out, there was a lot of speculation as to in what way Superman would be portrayed, or if there would be any political messaging. Because if he's talking about Snow White, that's a little bit backwards, or back in time at least. Leguizamo is a longtime advocate for diversity and representation in the entertainment industry. Roll credits. At the 2024 Emmys, the actor celebrated the diverse slate of nominees while also calling for additional change, because it's never enough. Quote, I'm one of Hollywood's DEI hires. That's right, DEI. The D is for diligence. The E is for excellence. The I is for imagination, he said. No, it's not. Why are you changing the definition of the term, John? Quote, and everyone in this room tonight has dedicated their lives to diligence, excellence, and imagination, so we're all DEI hires. What a beautiful, diverse group this is tonight, unquote. What do you mean, diverse? You should be saying, what a beautiful, diligent group this is tonight. The actor later added, quote, for years, I didn't complain about the limited roles my people were offered. My people! Okay, Moses. For years, I didn't complain about the limited roles my people were offered. Turns out not complaining doesn't change anything, so for the past few years, I've been complaining. And it's done wonders for your career, John. Because a Hollywood Reporter had to call back to Moulin Rouge to generate any recognition in your career. Well, there you go. Yes, there's John Leguizamo, guys. John is begging for relevance. He's been doing that quite a lot, seems like, the last several years. Moist Tree Rat. I'm just going to keep saying it. DEI, deport every illegal. Uh-oh, that's also incorrect, Moist Tree Rat. That is also incorrect. How dare you? Dean has done plenty of movies, yeah. You know, there's some actors that never stop working. It's just that they don't necessarily are in big budget stuff. The idea that you're only successful as an actor because you're in major things all the time isn't necessarily so. Are you a working actor? It's like Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon, I saw an interview with him. This is a long time ago now, but I saw an interview with him. He said, like, I'll take any role, right? I'm an actor. I'm not a... You know, he said something like, and I might be paraphrasing, or I might be making it up, but it was something to the effect of, the job title is actor, not star, or something like that. So, you know, every job is a job, every role you learn something new. Yeah. You know, so some guys work as actors their entire lives, but have you heard of most of their filmography? Probably not. But that's their job. That's their vocation and their passion. But anyway. JB, thank you so much. Quote, I'm smart, not like everybody says, like dumb. I'm smart and I want respect. Luigi, LOL. Actually, it was Fredo, but this guy's an idiot. Boy, what a moron. What a loser for joining ICE. Yeah, John doesn't seem to understand that regardless of whether it's Dean Cain or anybody else, that statement alone is an insult to anyone who goes through the training and sacrifices their life, their time, and their safety to serve their country. Whether it's in ICE or the FBI or the ATF or any kind of law enforcement capacity or the armed services. Yeah, what a loser. And you know what? Dean Cain, I would be surprised if Dean Cain is going to serve on the front line on the border. But if Dean Cain serves as an ambassador for ICE to promote joining ICE and promote border security and things like that, using his name and the celebrity that John Leguizamo keeps propping up with his criticism, hey, there you go. That's great. Let's see. Uh-oh. Zalbla, I fell 2 months ago and I'm still in physical therapy to be able to... What? No. Zalbla. I'm sorry. Oy. Well, rest up and take it easy. One step at a time. Every step forward is one step forward. Did I mention I never got hired at Hallmark cards? Yeah. But moving on. How's about some 1,000-year-old Incan skeletons? You guys like 1,000-year-old Incan skeletons? If your answer to that is yes, you have some odd inclinations. But here we go. Utility workers in Peru unearth pre-Incan tomb with 1,000-year-old remains. And this just goes to show the old adage, there is nothing new under the sun except the history you don't know. Utility workers excavating trenches to expand underground gas networks in Peru's capital unearthed 2 pre-Incan tombs on Thursday. One was empty, but the other held the 1,000-year-old remains of an individual alongside 4 clay vessels and 3 pumpkin shell artifacts. By the way, this is also how many a horror movie begins, so just letting you know. This isn't the first time Calida, the company that distributes natural gas in Lima, has found archaeological remains. Well, are they blessed or cursed in that regard? Over more than 2 decades of excavation work to expand the underground network, the company says it has made more than 2,200 discoveries. The entirety of Peru is a graveyard. That's all I gotta say. According to archaeologist Jose Aliaga, the vessel's iconography and their black, white, and red colors, quote, allow us to establish a connection with the pre-Incan Chankay culture, which is approximately 1,000 to 1,470 years old. Aliaga told the Associated Press that the individual was found wrapped in a torn bundle in a sitting position with his legs against his chest, and his team will continue cleaning the remains. Quote, Lima is unique among Latin American capitals, Aliaga said, in that various archaeological finds are unearthed during nearly every civil project. Sounds like it. The Peruvian capital, a city of 10 million people, has more than 400 archaeological sites from the Incan era, the 15th century, or earlier from the pre-Inca period, according to the Ministry of Culture. On Thursday, passersby stopped in their tracks to observe the burial site, even taking out their cell phones to take a picture. Imagine that in this day and age. Quote, I always thought they were paths where no one had lived, said Flor Prieto, who was walking with her 7-year-old daughter. Quote, but now I know that people older than the Incas have lived there. It feels so exciting, unquote. Quote, it is very common to find archaeological remains on the Peruvian coast, including Lima, mainly funerary elements, tombs, burials, and among these, mummified individuals, said Pieter van Dalen, Dean of the College of Archaeologists of Peru. Van Dalen was not involved in Thursday's discovery, much to his disappointment. Well, I added that last part. Well, golly, there you go. Incan skeletons everywhere. Strange and mysterious ancient curses abound. You want a gas-heated home? Prepare for zombies. Have we had a in recently, I realize like in the 80s, have we had a movie where like, you know, there was just some regular road construction guys or something that off in the backwoods somewhere unearth an ancient tomb, and then that turns into like a zombie Holocaust movie? Just some blue-collar guys having to fight zombies. Have we had that yet? At all? Anytime? Also, Miranda Stone. Well, if you don't know about Miranda Stone, apparently she loves Incan skeletons. But also... So there you go. Let's see. JB says, I'm always prepared for zombies. Probably since I know my fat ass isn't going to make it, so survival is moot. Yeah, okay. Just, you know, accepting the inevitability of your zombie feasting death, I guess. Morgan King, did you hear about Brandon Herrera is running for Congress? Okay, now... Here's the problem that is going to shock most of you, or at least Morgan King. Who's Brandon Herrera? I don't know who that is. So I guess the answer to your question is no, I hadn't heard. So if somebody is that going to like cause me to lose my my nerd card or something? Let's see. Alexander the Scourge. No, but a blue-collar zombie movie would be titled The Good Old Boys. There's a good one. There you go. JB. Yep, LOL. I'm just going to turn heel and start supporting the zombies. Might as well be, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what you do. Gun YouTuber like Donut Operator. Okay, well, I know about Donut Operator. Okay, well, good for him. Is he over the age of 35 and an American citizen? Actually, you don't have to be a natural born citizen to run for Congress, right? I don't think you have to be. I think it's only president, right? This is me not knowing my election laws off the top of my head. Read by Nature. Brandon Herrera has a YouTube channel, mostly gun-related. Think he's a Rogan orbiter. Okay. I mean, I might recognize him on sight. The name does not ring a bell. I've seen several things where... wait a second. Was he... Hold on. There was some series of panel discussions. Is he on a panel discussion show where they were recently talking with one of those like predator hunter guys or something? I'm really reaching into my memory here. But yeah, if I saw a picture of him, I probably know. He is a good dude. He's friends with Donut. Okay, fair enough. And that's okay. Now okay. It's not like a purple background, right? Like the background of the podcast or the show is like got like purple or blue or something, and it's a bunch of, you know, sort of like brawny paper towel men gathered around the table and they're talking about stuff. Is that it? Okay. All right. Then I know where, then at least I have some idea of where he is situated. I don't know him personally. Well, I don't know him personally, but I obviously don't know his name. Anyway. All right. Well, congratulations to him. Best of luck. I hope he does well. Or he won't. I don't know. But anyway, our last story, guys, deals with phallus flinging, deals with a little bit of cock juggling. How does the WNBA deal with sex toy throwers? What to know about arrests and security? Yes, guys, so the next time you go to a WNBA game, and I know that you are all season ticket holders for your nearby team, this is what you have to be aware of. Okay. Now, before I get into all the, you know, unavoidable jokes and things, I am not a fan of people throwing things out onto the court in general. And here's why. When I was a kid, my father just an incredible hockey enthusiast. We had season tickets. We went all the time. I saw many a hockey game. And the thing about people throwing things out on the ice is, if someone is skating along and their skate hits a otherwise immovable or frozen object on the ice, they could trip, they could fall, they could smash their face. I saw it happen once. Fortunately, the guy did not get seriously hurt, but some idiot threw a fish out on the ice right in front of one of the skaters, or the players, and his skate hit that thing, and it was like he hit a wall. And he flew forward. He was able to stop himself with his arms before he hit the wall, the actual wall, and seriously hurt himself. But it does happen. So, as a general rule, do not throw things out on the court or on the ice or anything like. Just don't. That being said, dildos on the WNBA basketball court is hilarious. I can't help it. It's my ingrained misogyny. I need to watch some more Michael Douglas to refine my talents. Thank you, JB. This is how you get octopus thrown on the court. Yeah. Don't throw things on the court. Don't throw things on. Just don't. Just stop. Just don't. But anyway, on the off chance that you attend a WNBA game in the near future, and I know the chances are slim, let's find out what the policies and procedures are, or the consequences of having to be a dongle dodger. The WNBA is still struggling with a string of sex toy disturbances, and we're not talking about beads. In the past week and a half, sex toys have been thrown on the court during games in Atlanta on July 29th, Chicago on August 1st, Los Angeles on August 5th, and Chicago again on Thursday night, with the most recent object hitting the court in the closing seconds of the Atlanta Dream's victory over the sky. The dream conquered the sky. Almost poetic. The sex toy that landed on the court in Los Angeles nearly hit Fever guard Sophie Cunningham. I know that name. I've seen her pictures. She might be one of the only reasons to pay any attention to the WNBA. That's just me being a misogynistic sexist, obviously. During Indiana's game against the Sparks, sex toys were also thrown at games in New York and Phoenix last Tuesday, but didn't reach the court. Oh, somebody was throwing like a girl. Police say another toy was thrown at a game in Atlanta on August 1st, though it's unclear if that one reached the court. I think you'd know it if it did, but who knows. The distractions have created unexpected challenges for the league, the teams, and the players, but also for arena security. Here's what to know. Are arrests being mad? Are arrests being mad? Are arrests being mad? Good gravy. I am a third grader. I am just I am a child. Okay, a man was arrested Saturday in College Park, Georgia, after he was accused of throwing a sex toy onto the court during the Atlanta Dream's July 29th matchup with the Golden State Valkyries, according to a police report. The report said he threw another sex toy during the Dream's August 1st game against the Phoenix Mercury, but that instance did not seem to result in a delay of play. Okay. He is charged with disorderly conduct, criminal trespassing, public indecency, and indecent exposure. Okay, I could get the disorderly conduct. I could get the criminal trespassing. Public indecency and indecent exposure. I mean, is that all one sort of like heading of a charge? It's just like an umbrella term, or is that two separate charges? Because public indecency, I could see how you could make that argument, I suppose. But indecent exposure? One, two, no, all four charges. Okay, wait, okay, how? Unless there's something else to this story other than him just throwing something onto the court. All 4 charges are misdemeanors in the state of Georgia, meaning that if he is convicted, the punishment for each can be a fine of up to $1,000 or jail time of up to 12 months. A misdemeanor for public indecency and indecent exposure may also require registration on the state's sex offender list. The report said the man told police, quote, "This was supposed to be a joke and the joke was supposed to go viral," unquote. Well, I suppose it was, and I suppose it has. But that's apparently not where the story stopped. Really? Another man in Phoenix was arrested after police say he threw a sex toy in the crowd at a Mercury game on Tuesday. Police say the 18-year-old pulled the sex toy from his sweater pocket and threw it towards seats in front of him, striking a spectator in the back. It came from behind. The man later told police it was a prank that had been trending on social media and that he bought the toy a day earlier to take to the game. He was later tackled by a volunteer at the arena who had witnessed the incident and began following him as the man tried to leave the arena. Police say the man was arrested on suspicion of assault, disorderly conduct, and publicly displaying explicit sexual material. Okay, the New York Liberty told the Associated Press on Thursday night that there is an ongoing investigation into the throwing in New York, and the team is cooperating with law enforcement. I think some of these might be taking the offense of this action or actions like it a few steps too far. But, okay. Killer Turnus, yeah, Scribbles, this is what bothers me. In the earlier blah blah comment wasn't directed towards you, but rather the author. No, I know. I took no offense. It was fine, yeah, blah blah blah. But I can also internalize other people's criticisms. As I often do. Thank you, Killer Turnus. That's very generous of you. Appreciate it. But yeah, okay. You throw a silicone representation of a piece of the human anatomy onto a basketball court. Okay, littering, trespassing, disorderly conduct. Yeah, sure. Okay. But charging someone with such crimes as would put them on the sexual offender registry, I gotta say. JB, do we blur his chin too? Kinda looks like balls. What? Did I miss a photograph in here somewhere? Who? What are we talking about? Blur what? You have confused me, JB. At the same time, I appreciate the donation. I don't mind being confused. It's usually, you know what the benefit of being confused is? Oh, well, presumably. If you're confused and then things are made clear, you have that sort of moment of, that little dose of endorphins or whatever at the revelation of something, at the discovery of something, even if it's something silly. But, Family Guy or Simpsons reference. Oh, yes, well, yes, the Family Guy's chins, as they were. What difficulties do arena security face in stopping this? Well, you'd have to frisk every person coming in for potential implements, and the implements that they are using aren't made of metal, as far as I know, so they wouldn't be detected by the usual security scans. Unless you brought in some silicone-sniffing dogs, but then you'd have a whole bunch of people, specifically women, being barked at for their chests, so I'm not quite sure what you do. The types of sex toys being thrown onto the court generally do not include metal elements. Hey, I just said that. Meaning that arena metal detectors are not able to sense them. When carried on a spectator's body, they become even more difficult to detect. Arena security teams face challenges in catching these items. Well, you mean like when they're in flight? I'm sure. According to Ty Richmond, the president of the Event Services Division at Allied Universal Security, a company that provides security services to certain NBA, WNBA, NFL, MLB, and MLS arenas across the country. And holy cats, thank you, Faustonia, so much. As much as I agree with you that fans should not be throwing things, I highly doubt this article when it suggests that the WNBA has actual spectators. Yeah, there was a, I can't quote it verbatim, but it was just the other day, there was a notice that went out that said the WNBA is considering like not allowing there to be audiences during games to prevent things being thrown on the court. And I was like, so an empty arena for a WNBA game, a day that ends in Y, unless it's Caitlin Clark playing or something. Or I guess now Sophie Cunningham. Yeah, so it's like, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, though. Aside from Caitlin Clark, the flying phalluses of the WNBA has brought more attention to the league than I think anything else in recent memory. Right. It's like, again, aside from Caitlin Clark and perhaps aside from Sophie Cunningham. So the WNBA should be, after a fashion, grateful. Grateful to the parachuting patriarchy onto their courts. Let's see. Not all stadiums are using a screening process that's consistent and can detect the sex toys because of what it would require. Pat-down searches, opening bags, prohibiting bags, he said. Quote, the conflict of expediency of getting fans into the arena and into the venue, which is an important issue, and security and safety, unquote. The limits of arena security make legal action one of the strongest deterrents for this kind of behavior, Richmond said. I agree. This is Scribe saying, I agree. However, registration on a sex offender registry is a bridge too far for this. Unless the guy or girl, I'm going to be egalitarian here. Unless the individual is doing something in the stands in the way of, removing their clothing or doing something or whatever. Yeah, but simply throwing a silicone representation of genitalia onto a court should not then equate to a sex crime, in my opinion. It should be penalized. I'll let the pun sit for itself there. The limits of arena security make legal... Right. Quote, the decision to prosecute and show examples of how people are being handled is very important, he said. Quote, without a doubt, I think it will make a difference. The application of it is important, and publicizing that is important, unquote. Yeah, the application is important. There should be penalties, but not like life-ruining, reputation and employment possibility destroying consequences. Again, unless there is something more to the specific incident we're talking about. There have not been any arrests made yet in Los Angeles and Chicago. In a statement to the AP, the Sparks said they are, quote, working with arena personnel to identify the individual responsible and ensure appropriate action is taken, unquote. Yes, appropriate. The WNBA has said that any spectators throwing objects onto the court will face a minimum 1-year ban and prosecution from law enforcement. The league doubled down on Friday in a statement saying, quote, the safety of everyone in our arenas remains our top priority. We are working closely with local and federal law enforcement to pursue all appropriate actions. Federal law enforcement? Why federal? Okay, I am not a legal expert. Why would the federal authorities be involved in this? We are working closely with local and federal law enforcement to pursue all appropriate actions, including arrest and prosecution with felony charges where applicable against anyone engaged in this conduct or otherwise involved in sponsoring this reckless and unacceptable behavior, unquote. How is it affecting players? As the disturbances pile up, those on the court have become increasingly frustrated. Quote, everyone is trying to make sure the W is not a joke. The W is not a joke. Okay, and it's taken seriously, and then that happens, Cunningham said on her podcast after nearly being hit by one of the sex toys on Tuesday. I'm like, how are we ever going to get taken seriously? Yes, because as we know, nothing of a disruptive nature has ever been thrown onto the court of an athletic competition featuring men. Here's how you get taken seriously. You shrug it off. Right? I mean, of all the things that Jay-Z ever said, that was Brush It Off. And it was Shake It Off for what's her name. So did anybody say Shrug It Off? Who said, there's got to be a song or a musician out there that said Shrug It Off. I got Shake It Off, Brush It Off. I'm getting confused. Of course, I never really listened to Jay-Z, and I definitely don't listen to Taylor Swift, so I'm easily confused. Anyway, no other professional sports leagues have faced sex toy disturbances like this. I mean, do you mean in frequency or at all? Because if you said it has never happened to any other sports league, I would be dubious of that claim. It has started a conversation online about the perpetrators' choices to throw them during games in a women's league and a league with a high-profile amount of lesbian and queer players. Because, as we know, lesbian and queer players have never seen a phallus before of the silicone variety. Here's the thing. I don't know if you guys know this. If you give a prankster or a bully a reaction of offense or hurt, you're going to encourage the prankster or the bully. I know. It's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. But shrug it off. Quote, this has been going on for centuries. The sexualization of women. You are absolutely correct. Do you know why that is? You know who I blame for the sexualization of women? Lesbians. If it weren't for the lesbians sexualizing their own people, we'd all be better off, guys. And obviously, as we know, there has never been, and they are protected from it, there's never been any sexualization of men. You know, that whole, like, human reproduction thing, that attraction, gosh, this has been going on for centuries. This has been going on for centuries. Heck, you know what? I'll do you one better. This has been going on for millennia. Thousands of years. Not centuries, thousands. This has been going on for centuries, the sexualization of women. This is the latest version of that. It's not funny. It should not be the butt of jokes, unquote. All right, let's graduate to silicone representations of butts. And then it'll be the butt of jokes. Eh? Anybody? Eh? Oh, man. You guys, okay. Anyway, it should not be the butt of jokes, said Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve Thursday. Quote, the sexualization of women is what's used to hold women down. And this is no different. Well, I mean, I must plead guilty that there has been a time or two when I have sexualized a woman by holding her down. You know, I was using certain straps and cuffs at the time, and it was completely above board and consensual and all. But I have held women down for the sake of sexualization before. Terrible. Despite the criminal behavior leading to arrests, at least one crypto-based predictions market is offering trades essentially allowing users to wager on whether sex toys will be thrown at future WNBA games. Because everything is a gamble in life, everyone. Players have also been sounding off on social media, echoing concerns about arena security protocols. Liberty Forward That almost sounds like it could be a name in and of itself, right? Liberty Forward. Liberty Forward Isabel Harrison posted on X last week saying, quote, "Arena security, hello, please do better. It's not funny. Never was funny. Throwing anything on the court is so dangerous," unquote. Okay, again, as I said at the top of this, I agree. Don't throw things on court. Do not throw things on the court. Do not throw things on the ice. Do not throw things on the field. Do not throw things at the athletes during the course of play. Do not do it. But dildos on the WNBA court is hilarious. And until the WNBA, the players and everybody else, also understands that it's hilarious and gets over themselves, it's probably going to keep happening. And that's not an endorsement. That's not an encouragement. That's just the way it is. Why does somebody who has a sadistic bone in their body pick at somebody? Because they're going to get a reaction. They're going to get a reaction. It's the reaction that gives them pleasure and satisfaction. Don't react to it. And yes, no, have consequences befall the people that do it. Whoever throws anything on the court should have consequences befall, but not necessarily life-altering, job prospect destroying, reputation scarring forever type consequences. Data Wasteland, hello. Your pin failed. Scribelite, you are out of the family and will never get the Scourge family fortune. My pin? What pin? I didn't pin anybody. What? I haven't seen anybody holding these pituitary cases down. Ooh! Pituitary case, ooh. That sounds all like intellectual and medical and stuff. I now picture Angel Reese or whatever breaking Caitlin Clark's leg on purpose. Oh. Because of... Well, that's toxic masculinity right there. Texas Tech fans throw tortillas on Jones Stadium. It's incredibly dumb and messy. I can imagine. Let's see. I was going to blame Kirk Douglas. Oh, that's right. Kirk Douglas. That's true. Kirk Douglas... Or maybe Michael Douglas. I mean, if you want to blame Kirk Douglas, Kirk Douglas, sins of the father. I'm sure Kirk Douglas is also a source of the misogyny that has weeded its way down. Did you ever see Greedy? You ever see the movie Greedy with Michael J. Fox and Kirk Douglas and Phil Hartman? Yeah, Kirk Douglas in that movie, obviously an evil misogynist, especially with his girlfriend and or caretaker. If you haven't seen Greedy, it is a forgotten classic of comedy. It really is. Look it up. Watch it. It's great. Let's see. Shadowclaw. I guess these silicone incidents prove something was up their bits. Butts. It's possible. It's possible. But, yeah. So, there we go, guys. Oh, wait. If we arrest anyone who throws something on court, the players would get in trouble. Oh. Yeah, it gives a whole new meaning to the idea of an illegal throw. Is that even a term? Kurt, Michael, either one. Well, it's Kirk. K-I-R-K. It's not Kurt. Not Kurt Douglas. It's Kirk Douglas. But that's okay, Random American. It's okay. I forgive you. All right, everybody. Well, that is the Sunday stream. A few little stories for fun and profit. Or if not profit, at least fun. Programming note, unless something comes up, and it's entirely possible, but hopefully not. Tomorrow, Monday, the 11th, August 11th, I should be on the panel for Midnight's Edge in the morning, where we'll go over the box office. Oh my gosh, what happened with Fantastic Four's box office drop, guys? Also, weapons. Apparently, as I predicted, I'm gonna shine my nails for a second there. I was saying on Midnight's Edge in the morning a couple weeks ago, I was saying, I've started seeing people putting up 30-minute long analysis speculation videos just on the trailer for the movie Weapons. I have a feeling it's going to be a real big winner at the box office for the horror types out there. And lo and behold, I was correct. Some of that movie inside analysis, box office stuff that I have absolutely no real professional knowledge about is rubbing off on me from the likes of Culture Casino and Tom Connors and Andre Einhar and Chris Brawley. Now, why am I rubbing up against those guys? Well, because they're so purty. But also tomorrow at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern, I'll be doing another episode of DEI Death Watch. I'll be looking at, as always, the downfall and the doubling down of DEI. We're going to talk about a quiet revolt led against DEI. Navigating rush season at a sorority as the DEI chairwoman, and how Fort Worth is shutting down its DEI. Oh my gosh, guys, so much DEI. All tomorrow on DEI Death Watch. Death Watch. Hi, I'm Steve. Late hello. But it's better than a late goodbye. And if you know about late goodbye, then you'll be playing Max Payne 2. Anyway, everyone, thank you guys so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everybody who donated, either to myself or to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society donation link pinned to the top of the chat box. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. Very much appreciated. Also, do you know I have a Discord server? I have a Discord server. Link to the Discord server is in the chat right now. If you'd like to join the Discord server, click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you are not a bot, have watched the stream, and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is skeleton. If you say Incan skeleton, I'll be even more impressed. But you can just say hello, skeleton, and I'll know that you watched the show. Also, guys, before I forget, please, if you have not already, hit the like button, not just for the sake of my ego, which is important enough, but also because, as YouTube is changing its algorithms, your viewership does not count anymore, or in the near future, unless you as well engage with the program. And engagement requires either a like and or a comment. So please, for the sake of my channel, for the sake of my metrics, and for the sake of my well-being, please hit the like button on your way out. Everyone, have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Hope you have a good week ahead of you. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.